Greetings, kindred friend. Let us be still together in this moment to ask ourselves something that perhaps your mind has often pondered for a long time. Is growing old truly a retreat into loss? Is it the time we gradually become invisible in the eyes of the world, no longer useful, and quietly count down the time in the loneliness of a weakening body? Many of us look at old age as a sad sunset, where everything beautiful is closing. However, Buddhist wisdom gives you a completely different perspective. What if I told you aging is not a decline, but a sacred refinement process? This is the stage where the noise of speed gives way to the stillness of depth. You are not becoming less valuable, you are simply becoming more concentrated. Just like a cup of tea reaching its purest state after many infusions, your soul right now is entering the ripening season of awareness. Tonight's journey is not about advice for you to strive to fight old age. On the contrary, I invite you to walk with me through 7 lessons of awakening to learn how to step into this chapter of life with all your inherent dignity and serenity. Let your mind rest, because you are about to realize you are not fading away, you are radiating in the most profound way. Lesson 1. Tending the Inner Home. The art of lightly letting go of the past. Try closing your eyes and imagining your mind as a house you have inhabited for the past 6 or 7 decades. In that house, there are precious jewels of joy, but there is also a lot of old and heavy furniture that you still silently keep in the dark corners, regrets over a wrong decision from 30 years ago, resentments towards someone no longer around, and even the roles you have finished playing but still refuse to leave behind. You still try to cling to the image of yourself at the peak of your career, or the image of someone who must always carry the whole world on their shoulders. Dear friend, there is a bitter truth that few realize. It is exactly the accumulation of these old stories that exhausts you, not the years. The Buddha taught that attachment is exactly the root of suffering. We are tired not because the path of life is too long, but because the luggage bag of consciousness is full of things that no longer belong to the present. When you keep trying to hold on to a past that has drifted away like a stream of water, you are manually strangling your own peace. Tonight, when darkness envelops and the room becomes silent, I invite you to perform a sacred tidying ritual. Quietly ask your heart an awakening question: what am I still carrying that my soul no longer needs? Is it an outdated pride, or a sorrow that has turned to stone? Understand this liberating truth. Letting go is not losing, it is lightness. You do not need to erase memories. You only need to learn how not to let them own you. When you bravely throw away outdated roles and faded resentments, you will find your shoulders miraculously light. True healing begins when you realize, to receive the brilliant light of this harvest season, your hands must first be free. Let today drift away completely, so your mind's room becomes airy, ready for the breezes of wisdom to rush in and water it. Lesson 2. Clarity and Protection. Selecting relationships that bring peace. Look back at the passing years of youth. Did we once live in a tangled web of social obligations? Out of fear of being left behind, out of pride, or out of the obsession with loneliness, we tried to please everyone. We accepted the noise, endured useless conversations, and even tolerated toxic relationships just because of the word responsibility. But dear friend, age gives you clearer eyes to recognize a bitter truth. A room full of laughter and chatter means nothing if your soul still feels exhausted and empty. In Buddhist wisdom, we often mention the concept of Sangha, a community of virtuous friends who support each other toward awakening. At this age, your own Sangha does not need to be a noisy crowd. It can just be a few soulmates, a relative who knows how to listen, or even an empathetic silence between 2 people. You are no longer in the time of having to strive to belong to a certain group. Now is the time you only need to belong to gentleness. Understand this sacred truth. You can love everyone, but not everyone has the right to step into your temple of peace. Tonight, I invite you to perform a small breath test. Imagine the people you frequently interact with. The very moment their faces appear in your mind, notice who is the person making you feel your breath become lighter and more expansive, and whose mere mention makes your chest unconsciously tighten and your heart suddenly sink. It is time you allow yourself to be clear. Keeping your distance from those who constantly sow agitation, judgment, or drain your energy is not a selfish act. It is the ultimate compassion for yourself. You can send them a good wish from afar, love them with equanimity, but decisively do not let them muddy the still lake in your heart. Sleep in the relief of one who has known how to protect the candle of peace against the callous winds of the world. Lesson 3. The anchor of reality, returning to the present. Try looking at your hands right this moment. Do you realize that most of our lives have passed in the posture of a time traveler? Your mind is frequently not in the same place as your physical body. Especially when crossing age 60, we are very prone to falling into two abysses of consciousness, either immersing in the golden memories of youth only to regret the lost agility, or fearing before the fog of the future regarding illness and solitude. In the wisdom of the Buddha, there is a liberating truth we often miss. The past is only a memory. The future is only an imagination. Only the present is the sole reality where you can truly live. When you live in memories, you are spending precious energy on a ghost. When you fear the future, you are fighting an enemy that has not yet appeared. Tonight, I invite you to perform a ritual of presence, starting from the smallest and purest things. Imagine the moment you pour a cup of tea in the early morning. Do not let your mind run back to a conversation from 10 years ago. Listen to the trickling water touching the bottom of the cup. Watch the white smoke rising faintly and feel the warmth spreading through your palms. When you drink tea, truly be there with the cup of tea. When you sit still in the darkness now, feel the cool air entering your nostrils and the warmth exiting. That is exactly the most authentic evidence of life. All fears and comparisons automatically disintegrate the very moment you are truly present. Because, dear friend, engrave this soothing truth into your heart. This moment is enough. You do not need to be young again to feel whole. You do not need to know the future in advance to feel safe. Right now, under the cool moonlight, with a steady breath and a beating heart, you already have everything necessary for peace. When you treat every breath as a destination, every slow step as a return, you will see time is no longer a pressure chasing behind your back, but a peaceful river watering your soul. Sleep in the fulfillment of the present, for exactly here is where you truly touch eternity. Lesson 4. Flowing with the current. Serenity amidst impermanence. Dear friend, there is a truth, both gentle and strict, that age gifts us. That is the distinct presence of change. At this age, impermanence is no longer an abstract philosophical concept, but it exists in every wrinkle, in the emptiness of the house when children have grown up, and even in the farewells to soulmates. Our natural reaction is fear and regret. We strive to freeze time, wanting everything to remain exactly like the old golden days. However, Buddhist wisdom gives you a liberating view. Impermanence is not a pessimistic sentence, it is exactly the heartbeat of life. Try to imagine, if a flower never faded, it would only be an inanimate plastic flower. It is precisely because the petals will fall that its fragrance at this moment becomes so sacred. Imagine life like the 4 seasons of the earth. Youth is the passionate spring, middle age is the blazing summer, and now you are entering the autumn and winter of your life. In nature, no season is wrong. Autumn has the beauty of ripeness, winter has the beauty of stillness and depth. Trees do not wail when shedding leaves, because they know that letting go is necessary for the sap to be recalled to the core, preparing for a new rebirth. Tonight, I invite you to perform a deeper awakening. You are not the changes happening to this physical body or circumstance. You are the awareness silently witnessing those changes. The body may become more tired, titles may be lost, but the observer inside you is always still. Engrave this soothing truth: you are the eternal sky, and aging or losses are just clouds drifting by. When you accept that everything must drift away for the new to be formed, you are no longer a victim of time. You become part of the river of life, leisurely and endless. Tonight, allow yourself to rest and trust in the flow of the universe. You are not left behind. You are only shifting to a deeper and nobler rhythm. Lesson 5. Reconciling with the physical temple. Treating yourself with compassion. How many times have you lain down in the dark and silently given rise to a quiet anger toward yourself? You are annoyed because your legs are no longer supple, resentful because your lower back aches, or disappointed when looking in the mirror and seeing a form too different from your radiant youth. We live in a Western society that worships youth and productivity, where aging is often considered a flaw that needs fixing. Inadvertently, we treat our bodies like a broken machine instead of a devoted companion. In Buddhist wisdom, compassion, karuna, is not something far away meant for others, but must begin with being kind to this very form. Dear friend, try changing your lens right this moment. The wrinkles at the corners of your eyes are not signs of fading. They are a sacred map, recording every smile, every teardrop, and all the times you bravely walked through storms. Gray hair is not the color of depleted time. It is the white hue of wisdom, a witness to the tens of thousands of hours you have resiliently shouldered life. Tonight, I invite you to perform a final reconciliation ritual. Place a hand on your heart and send a sincere thank you to your body friend. This friend has unceasingly breathed for you for over 60 years, has strained to carry all your dreams and efforts without a single word of complaint. Understand this soothing truth. The body does not owe you perfection, but you owe your body compassion. It is time you allow yourself to rest without guilt. At this age, you slowing down is not because you are weak, but is a mindful choice to enjoy the ground beneath your feet. Your need to lie down and rest more is not laziness, but the act of preserving the candle of life that is shining profoundly. When you stop judging pains and start listening to the voice of the physical body with gentleness, your nervous system will receive an ultimate safety signal. It is exactly in that state of harmony that true healing has the chance to sprout. Tonight, let your body sleep well in your own love. Lesson 6. Turning solitude into a sanctuary. The beauty of sovereignty. Do you hear the sound of your house right now? An encompassing silence. There are evenings when you sit looking at the empty chairs around the dining table, remembering the time when children were chirping or the sound of friends chatting lively. Now, the phone contacts seem shorter, calls become sparse, and the world out there suddenly becomes distant. Our instinct is to fear that void. We rush to turn on the TV, grab the phone, or let the mind sink into imaginary dialogues just to fill the silence. But dear friend, Buddhist wisdom gives you a key to open the treasure lying right in this stillness. That is distinguishing between loneliness, the painful solitude, and solitude, the radiant quietude. Loneliness is the feeling of being abandoned, the fear when we have no one beside us. Solitude is the state full of one's own presence. How many years have you lived for others? How many years have you always had to respond to the needs of the world? Old age gifts you a sacred privilege, the right to no longer need to please anyone. Tonight, I invite you to perform an act of ultimate autonomy. Stop trying to fill the silence. Instead, turn your room into a sanctuary of stillness. Learn to sit still with yourself like sitting with a soulmate you haven't met in a long time. When an anxious thought or a sad fragment of memory arises, do not chase it away. Just silently observe it, the way you watch a cloud drift across the night sky. The cloud may be gloomy, may be pitch black, but it can never hurt the vast sky that is you. Engrave this truth into your heart. When you truly feel comfortable and at peace in your own presence, the world no longer has the power to hurt you with heartlessness or oblivion. True sovereignty is when you realize you are your own island, Atadipa. You no longer wait for a call to feel valuable. No longer wait for empathy from the outside to feel comforted. When you turn solitude into a sacred space, you will see yourself immensely wealthy right in the utmost simplicity. Tonight, let the darkness soothe you, and sleep in the silent pride of a soul that has found home, right inside its heart. Lesson 7. The greatest asset. Nourishing the garden of the mind. Look at your mind right now as a meditative garden. For over half a century, you have been absorbed in planting all kinds of seeds, from achievements, fame, to livelihood worries. But in the autumn of life, true wealth does not lie in the size of the garden, but in what you choose to water every day. The Buddha taught that what you nourish in your thoughts will grow and encompass your life. If you continue to water anxiety, the weeds of sorrow will cover the way back. But if you choose to water gratitude and letting go, peace will automatically bloom without coercion. Always remember this image. You are the eternal vast sky, while thoughts, whether physical pain or regret, are just passing clouds. A cloud can be pitch black, can temporarily obscure the moonlight, but it has never and can never hurt the purity of the sky that is you. You have no obligation to believe every whisper of the mind. Simply let them pass by. Engrave this final truth before closing your eyes. Peace does not come from you controlling everything, but from the courage to accept everything. When you stop fighting with reality, you will see yourself truly free right in this very breath. My kindred friend, engrave this final truth into your heart before closing your eyes. Aging is not a cruel destiny happening to you. It is an awakening quietly blooming from within you. Old age is not a fire gradually dying out in the dark. It is when the light becomes softer, more profound, and shines deeper into your truest being. If you are standing at this stage of life, walk very slowly, but with all the dignity and sovereignty of a soul that has seen through the human world. If tonight's sharing has brought a bit of warmth to your soul, I invite you to press the subscribe button so we can continue to accompany each other on the path of awakening. Wishing you a long night of peace, complete letting go, and waking up in the radiant light of wisdom. Goodbye, and see you again.